ஆமா, வருது, லைவா வருது பார்த்து. ஓகேவா?
லைவ்
ஆ?
இது வந்து லைட்ஸ் ஆஃப் பண்ண சொல்றாரு.
இல்ல ஆஃப் பண்ண முடியாது, ஆட்டோ
முடியாதா? விஜய்
சொல்லிட்டு இந்த மைக் எடுத்து நீங்க பேசுங்க. ஆமா, முதலில் தமிழ்தாய் வாழ்த்து எல்லாரும்.
பேசிட்டு சொன்னீங்கன்னா இதுல வந்து நம்ம
இது உங்க ஸ்பீக்கர்
இது கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா
ஓகே இல்ல அவங்க ஏதோ சொன்னாங்க இல்ல தங்க இது டிவி
இல்ல இது இல்ல சொல்லுங்க.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். தமிழ்தாய் வாழ்த்து. ப்ளீஸ் ஸ்டாண்ட்.
Screen. So output properly.
நீங்க மைக்ல போட்டு
Yeah. So that's what
ஆமா யா
Good afternoon all. Sorry for the delay. First, on behalf of Washington Tamil Sangam, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Monica Randolph, highly experienced in college admissions. Thank you for coming. We are delighted to have you here. And I would like to welcome all our students and parents. Students, prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. This will be great. This event is made possible by our sponsors, Samatva Wealth Management and Valetamal Radio. And before I hand over to our president, Mr. Raja Ram, once again, I would like to thank you all and welcome you all.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Since most of you here, I would like to talk in English so that everyone can understand. உங்கள் அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்கின்றேன். Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Washington Tamil Sangam's first Youth Forum meeting and seminar on free college and university admission. This is the first time ever we have organized such an event for youths in DC metro area. Our Tamil Sangam board met in February 2007 to develop strategies to provide value-added service to our members. We decided to form a youth committee and work towards the development and community involvement. We will discuss more at the end of this event about how this youth forum will benefit our kids and community to grow together. Please stay until the end of this event to get your feedback to further enhance Tamil Sangam involvement in kids activities. We need your feedback. As you know, most of us here are first generation parents from India. Offering such seminars will be beneficial to all of us to learn on how to prepare our kids for better colleges and universities. I take this opportunity to thank our sponsor for today's event, Mr. Mari from Samatva Wealth Management and Valai-Tamil Radio for the value contribution. I also wanted to thank one of our board members, Vijayan Gnanasundaram. Please stand up. So he's one of the four members who organized this event. Thanks Vijayan for this organizing such a wonderful event, and he took this commitment along with the rest of the board to make it happen today. We have partnered with UZ Easy, who are an expert in university and college admission process. They have done an excellent seminar in Bay Area, Tamil Mandram as well. They are headquartered in Silicon Valley. We partner with the UCEC because of their focus on the needs of first-gen immigrant families, especially from India. Today's presenter would be Dr. Monica Rantel. And UCEC college admission expert with over 25 years of experience. She lives in DC metro area. We are also joined on video conference with UCEC co-founders Vinny Gupta and Vaithishwaran. We have also shared that the web link on our Facebook, Washington Tamil Sangam. So those who cannot make it today can join this event through web TV. I'm going to ask Vaithish to provide a quick overview of the company. By the way, Vaithish grew up around Coimbatore and he speaks fluent Tamil. Without any further ado, I welcome Vaithish to take over the seminar. Thank you.
எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். So thank you, Mr. Rajaram, and thank you, Mr. Vijayan, for organizing such a wonderful event. இது தமிழ் மன்றங்கள்னா நான் கொஞ்சம் தமிழ்ல பேசுறேன். Probably please Dr. Monica and Vinny bear with me. So we are here, right? In the country, நம்ம வந்ததே basic thing is நம்ம வந்து அவ்வளவு படிச்சு நல்ல best colleges, best courses எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு we have very good life, right? That's the basic thing got us here. இங்க வந்த பிறகு நம்ம பசங்க வந்து we want to keep the same quality of education and everything. But இங்க irony என்னன்னா, வேடிக்கையான விஷயம் என்னன்னா, நம்ம வந்து இங்க we never gone through the schooling system here, right? It's a 4 years under, whether it's a high school or the 4 years undergrad program, we never gone through that process. India, like we get very high academic score, and it's very transparent system. It's very straightforward. You get a good score, you get a good school, come out and either do masters and get a good job, right? Life is pretty simple. India, education is the main factor, but it is not the only criteria for us to get in the top colleges, right? We have to think differently. அது முதல்ல நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். That's the main reason. So இது how we found UCEC main it's like we want to make college admissions easy for all first generation immigrant family. That's the main aim of our company. That's our mission, right? So how we came up with this? Now, Vinny Gupta, my partner, and myself, like we know each other for more than 10 years. We play cricket together, so we all the time talk about things. We have a very successful career here. We have been living here for more than 25 years. And so we want to really help our community giving back something to the community. All the time we talk about it. So how we can do this, that's what every time. So Vinny, I have seen Vinny putting through his kids through the entire college admission process. And so it was about that. I admire him because his daughter graduated from UCLA and his son is in University of Chicago, one of the top most schools in the nation. Right, and that is very successful. Then, எனக்கு வந்து ரெண்டு பசங்க, மூத்த பையன் வந்து now he's a junior. அந்த டைம்ல actually we started the company ஆரம்பிச்ச ஒரு 3 வருஷம் முன்னாடி seriously பேசிட்டு இருக்கும்போது what happened is once your kid is getting into the school, high school, then any social event, I'm not sure how it's over there, but here in Bay Area, it is in Silicon Valley, it's people from all over the world are here, and it's very competitive environment here. Right? So all the time you talk about any social event you go, everybody talks about, what are you going to do? What kind of activities your kid is involved? Is he doing this, that? So it's automatically the pressure builds up, right? You can try to avoid and ignore probably, 10, 20 times, but it's naturally it kind of gets builds up in you. Then one day, then you just go home and start showing that on your family, right? Okay, a kid is already under pressure, right? So they have the peer pressure, they are going through the same process here, and we are here to help them. But instead, sometimes we don't know, right? It's all like half-baked information. Ipo na dhairiyama solluven after 3 years, I can easily say like more than half of the information what I heard from other friends and other people, right? It's not true. Right? This may be a shocking thing for you, but you have to plan and do things in the right way. That every kid deserves to be in a good college. So the thing is, you have to do it right? So that's how we started this business, right? The UCEC, the company, that's how we formed. So initially we came up with a bunch of tools, software, which can help the kid, go through this admission process. It's very independent, it's easy to navigate. We always keep in mind how a kid and a parent, especially if you're new to the system, how they can use it. Then we started out with next level, right? Because the major problem here is in India also, if you really look at it, this counseling, we don't never use it for anything, right? Counseling means it's a different notion for us. But here it's totally different, right? They are in the school for a different purpose. They are here to guide the students with the college admissions, right? It is not an option. That's how I see it. After going through this process, it's not an optional thing. It is a must for every kid and family to have it. Because the stress and anxiety, especially people from India, we focus more on academics and we leave out the rest, right? There is extracurricular strategies, there are many things which also add stuff and get you into the good school. But here, we don't focus on any of those, but that actually, then clearly, these counselors will help in guiding. And trust me, that takes like half of your stress and anxiety away, right? It's literally, I can say it's outsourcing your stress and anxiety to the counselors. That's how I see it all the time, right? So that's how this company started this. And we are a social business. Yes, we are not kind of completely non-profit, but we do provide a lot of free events and software, and whatever money, most of the money we make, it goes back to the community. That's why we call it as a social business, because that's how we conduct all these events, and we have sponsoring other educational events, everything, right? And we have, so then still we kind of thought how we are going to build this business, right? How we are going to help all these people. Here in Bay Area, if you look at it, any good quality counselors if you have to hire, it's minimum $10,000 to $15,000 minimum you have to, that's the starting point. And even if I'm ready to spend that kind of money, it is like, package, right? All or nothing model. So we want to break that case. So the thing is, we want to say, I may be a parent, I'm interested in service getting served only for finalizing a college or financially appealing. So if under my situation, why do I need to sign up for like a package, right? It can be an a la carte model. So I can pick and choose and decide what kind of service I want. So that's the reason we kind of made it. This is, accessible and affordable for every single family, right? That's our goal. And then again, going back to keeping in mind, we want to help the first generation immigrant family, right? This is how it is. So this, how we are going to maintain the quality. So that's where we thought if you just take the Bay Area out of the equation, there are better or equal of what kind of guidance counselors there are here, admissions counselors, the same quality of people we find all around US, right? That's how we build. In chance website and we have, you won't believe that we are like top class 25 counselors. Every single person is master's in college admissions counseling, and there are many PhDs. And the other part is, many of them are former admissions officers or current application students in popular universities. That's how it's in top most colleges in the nation, right? And the Mary with that. So it's not like, we are doing for money. So we care for it, and even our counselors, every single person, they show empathy, right? They are here to listen and help and guide the students to see them successful, right? That's our main goal. The company, that's how we want to build. So we never compromise on that. And then the advisory board of FATA, it was Assistant Director of Admissions of UC Berkeley. He is also there. And then we have Purdue, Assistant Director of Admissions from Purdue. He is also there. And so that's how. So when we get our counselors on board, they go through a stringent interview process. As myself and Vinny, as a parent, we screen them, then we talk to our advisors, then only finally they get picked up. So that's how we guarantee quality and the service offered by us, right? And lastly, we started, everything is going back to giving back to the community, right? So the final thing is about UCC, philanthropy. So we launched that as well. So our goal is, we want to sponsor like 50 kids every year who are California median average low-income families, right? So it's about $64,000 to $65,000. So whoever is making less money than that, we sponsor those kids and kind of help them with this college admission process. So we've been doing that in this year. So that actually gives more satisfaction. So even though you can see this as a business, but myself and Vinny and our counselors, they all see it as a service more than a business. So this is our main value we add, and this is how we kind of came up with this company. And the last final part is, because Vinny wrote an excellent article, we don't want kids to just overshoot or undersell, like just applying to various colleges and stuff. So he wrote an excellent article that got picked up by all the popular national magazines, right? If you look at it, it got coverage in every single one, the major ones. That also you can check it on our site. Without any further delay, I just want to get Vinny going. So.
Thanks very much, Vaitish. And my name, Vaitish said, is Vinny Gupta. I'm a co-founder of UCEC. And first of all, would like to thank again Vijayan ji and Rajaram ji for this opportunity to present or to share college admissions related information with the Tamilian community in Greater Washington, DC. So thank you so much for your partnership. So let me jump right into the agenda for today. So what we're going to do is that we're going to have our presenter, Dr. Monica Randall, who's in the room with you. I'm going to introduce her in a second. And she's going to have a formal presentation on the topic, which is the need to think differently when you think about admission to top-tier colleges. And I'll talk about why in a second. So she's going to talk about that for 45 minutes, then she'll take questions for about 10 minutes. Then she'll invite me back, and I can help you understand if you want to engage with the UC-EC expert for your child, how you can do that. And then Dr. Randall is going to take more questions and wrap up. So approximately you're looking at about an hour and 15 minutes from now. So let me talk about what is the core issue here. Why should you care as a parent? So you might be thinking, my child is doing great in school. My child is smart. So then where is the issue in terms of admission to top-tier colleges? So please take a look at the chart. I don't know whether it's displaying well on your screen. So let me read the contents for you. Essentially for this chart, compiled by US News and World Rankings, these guys are an authoritative source on college admission related research in the US. So what this chart is saying is that over the last 10 years, the number of applicants to top-tier colleges has become double, whereas the number of seats has remained constant. So the net result is that acceptances to top-tier colleges, top-ranked colleges, those are down by half. So take a look at this number here, if you can see my cursor on the screen. For the top-tier colleges, which Dr. Randall will talk about, Harvard, MIT, etc., Johns Hopkins, the acceptance rate, meaning the percentage of students that are accepted, that rate is in the 8% average rate. For Harvard, it's closer to 5%. For Stanford, it's closer to 5%. It means that 1 out of 20 kids get accepted. Keep in mind that these kids are all excellent kids. So what does that mean? It means that our kids, my kid, your kid, our kids just have to compete against similarly high performance kids to be able to get to these top-tier colleges. My goal, my teacher's goal, Dr. Monica Randall goal is not to scare you. We are here to share with you reality, but more importantly, to share with you a different way of thinking so that you can get ahead of this intense competition. So with that, let me invite Dr. Randall, but I wanted to say just a few words about her. She has about 28 years experience in college admissions. She was Vice President, Financial Aid and Admissions at a national level university. There are very, very few things in college admissions that she does not know. She lives, like Rajaramji said earlier, she lives in the Washington, D.C. area. So with that, please welcome Monica Randall.
Thank you. I guess I'm supposed to grab that mic. I'm supposed to grab the mic? Yes. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Benny, VK, and thank you all for inviting us here for this evening. I'm really happy to be here, very humbled, and thank you all for a very warm welcome coming in here. So what I'm going to do today is first I'm going to introduce myself. Benny, can you advance the slide, please? So yes, I have a number of years of experience. I just want to give you a little bit of more background about myself. I grew up in this area, primarily in Virginia. I'm a graduate of the University of Virginia, which I'll talk a little bit more about schools like the University of Virginia. I refer to them as public Ivies, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And I also worked in admissions and financial aid as a vice president for admissions and financial aid at a university. So how did I come to decide to be a counselor, a consultant for families? When I worked at this university, I noticed that many times, I had so many families that would come to me kind of late in the process. They were trying to get admitted into the school. And I always kept a box of tissues on my desk because a lot of families would come to the process a little bit late, and they didn't quite understand how to get admitted, or once they got admitted, the financial aid process, et cetera. So while I was working at this university, I said, wow, I wish that I could help families on the front end, like early when they're in high school, so that by the time they get to college, they already have that whole, the idea of how to get in, the financial aspect, the admissions aspect, et cetera. So I took that opportunity to do this and met UC Easy and decided to work with them to assist families on the front end as well. Can you advance the slide, please? And like I said, I do live in this area. My husband and I, we have a daughter, Maya, my daughter. We live in Bowie, Maryland, and we're very active. She's a rising 8th grader now. And we are also active swim parents, and I know I've already met a couple of swim parents here in the room. And I'm also an official for USA Swimming, so I spend a lot of time by the pool. I don't know if there's a show of hands. Are there other swim parents? Because I've already met a few. Yeah, very good. That's great. So I'm very active in the community here in the area, not too far from here. And it's really interesting that my husband works for New York Life, which is right around the corner here. So we're always here in this area. Before I continue, what I'd like to do is I'd like to find out more about the students who are here. Okay, so how many of you are in middle school? Just raise your hand. Some middle schoolers, that's good.
Middle school or?
Oh, finishing middle school, well, in middle school. In middle school, like really in it. Okay, that's good. And how many of you are like 9th grade or going into 9th grade? Nice show of hands, very good. 10th graders? Good, good. 11th graders? And rising seniors? No rising seniors. All right.
You're busy applying for colleges.
All right, very good, thank you. And so I also want to find out the high schools folks are from. Anyone attend this high school? The most from Virginia? Yeah, this area? Tamatha? Did someone say that? Tamatha? Oh, okay. All right. I was just wondering, like, Howard County, okay. All right. Prince George's County, anyone? Howard County, Montgomery County schools? Yes. Okay, Montgomery and Howard County. And then Virginia, I know some folks are from Virginia as well. Like Arlington, Fairfax? Yes, okay. All right, very good, very good. All right. So what we're going to do today, you can advance the slide, please. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the science behind college admissions. We're going to talk about the factors that schools use to determine who they admit and who they do not admit. And then I'll turn it back over a little later on how to get more guidance. When I talk about the factors, however, I'm going to do something a little different as well that I'm going to ask you all to kind of help me with. But let's just get started a little bit and talk a little bit about U.S. college degrees and what's available to students once they graduate from high school. Okay, typically after high school, there are pretty much 2 levels of schools that you can go to, and 2 types of degrees: an associate degree, 2-year degree, primarily from community colleges, right? And then you also have bachelor's degrees, so you have those opportunities as well. 4-year degrees so schools like the University of Maryland, University of Virginia, those kind of schools have 4-year degree programs. You can advance this slide, please. So if you look at the big picture, and I think this is something that might shock a lot of people, there are over 4,000 colleges and universities here in the U.S. That's a large number of schools. Okay, and they range in selectivity, which I'll go a little bit more into, But the very fact of the matter is that there are over 4,000 in the US. These are 2-year and 4-year colleges and universities that are available. Can you advance the slide, please? So I talked a little bit about the variety in terms of there are 2-year and 4-year colleges and universities. The other thing to kind of take into consideration is the fact that there are different types of schools out there. So you have liberal arts, you have those that kind of focus on that liberal arts, the humanities, the social sciences, and those kind of focuses. And then you also have more of the comprehensive and research universities, like Johns Hopkins would be considered a university that's comprehensive, more of the research aspect. Oh, thanks. Okay. As well as University of Maryland, University System of Maryland, University of Maryland will be considered research as well. Some very popular state colleges and universities, and I kind of picked some that were popular in this area, are the University System of Maryland. So University of Maryland at College Park is very popular from this standpoint. University of Maryland, Baltimore County is rising in its ranks, becoming a very much more highly selective, popular school as well. University of Texas, Michigan, and UNC. These are examples of highly selective public colleges and universities, and we refer to these as sort of like the public Ivies. I mentioned that before, like the University of Virginia is considered to be a public Ivy. So basically what that means is it's a school that has Ivy League caliber students and curriculum, but more at a public kind of price, okay? So it's highly selective, but it tends to be a public school. Next slide, please. And some very popular private colleges and universities, more from the Ivy League focus. These schools, of course, admit less than 10% of the students who apply, so they're highly selective schools. Some of them have names that you're very familiar with, like Harvard and Princeton, Yale, Penn as well, and Brown, Columbia, all right? So these are very popular. They're private schools, Ivy League schools, and they do admit a very small portion of students who apply to those schools. So the admissions is very competitive to get into those schools. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the things that they look at when we're looking at getting into some of these competitive schools. There are, of course, other private schools that are not necessarily Ivy League quality, but they're very competitive as well. A number of them are in this area. I tried to highlight some of them, like Johns Hopkins. I mean, everyone's pretty much familiar with them. Georgetown, GW, in this area. Villanova, Swarthmore. So I tried to highlight some of those as well. So these also are other private colleges. The selectivity rate for these schools may be a little higher than 10%, but probably less than 10 to 25% of the students who apply will get into these schools. So they're highly selective as well, okay? So there are a lot of different factors that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at college admissions, all right? So getting into a top-ranked college, okay? Let's talk a little bit about the reality of college advising today. Go forward, please, Tim. All right, so I pulled some statistics from this school, from this local school. And if you look at the student to counselor ratio at many high schools, nationally, it's about 476 students to 1 counselor, okay? Here in Maryland, the average is about 350 students to 1 counselor. That means that 1 counselor has to help or assist 350 students when it comes to college admissions. And I was really shocked. I actually pulled data from this high school that we're here to give an example. And this school has about 2,200 students, and they have 1 college admissions advisor, okay? That's quite a lot. And the other thing that is really interesting about the reality of college admissions today, and this is kind of like a national statistic as well, about students receive about 38 minutes of college advising on average for the entire time they're in high school. Just 38 minutes of college advising, right? And about 60% of students report that they don't receive any college advising at all. And it's simply because, the demand exceeds the supply of counselors that are at high schools, right? So that's pretty much the reality of college advising today for high schools, especially public high schools, big public high schools, right? So one thing I wanted to talk about are some of the admissions requirements. This is just to summarize some of those admissions requirements. Of course, we have the primary requirements, grades, things that we're all familiar with, right? So we're familiar with grades, academic courses that you've taken, exam requirements like SAT and ACT. Those are some of the primary requirements for admissions. Other things, little more secondary, a little more subjective, are extracurricular activities, which I'll go into detail on, as well as being a leader, as well as essays, the importance of essays, getting recommendation letters, and demonstrating interest, having people demonstrate that they're actually interested in school, okay? But what I'd like to do now, please turn to the next slide. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to do a mock admission simulation, okay, with you. But I need 8 students to volunteer. 8 students to volunteer. Yeah, oh, come on up, just come on up. This is great, wow, I'm getting a lot of volunteers. All right. Okay, I'm gonna set my mic down because I need to give them instructions. Okay, so one moment. So I need to be able to have the parents see you. So maybe you just line up here. But as you're lining up, you're just gonna hand you a piece of paper and then line up in order of what you see on that paper. Okay? It's yours. I hope that's something else. They only have 8. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. So if you line up and with the highest here, so your parents can see. So the 4.1 for your here. Okay, 4.1 so your parents, everybody's all lined up. Kind of lined up. Okay, so what I want you to do is turn it, hold up, and I want you to study what's on the back. Okay. All right. So make sure your parents can see it. I think I'm good. Yeah. I think? Okay. So I guess I can stand. Okay. I need to give them instructions. So do you think I can go around the table? Yeah. Right. All right, so everyone can see, right? Everyone can see what they're holding. Can someone tell me what they're holding? GPAs, yes. They are holding their GPAs, okay? And let's see, I want you guys, can you come forward just a little bit? Because you're gonna have to have enough space to move kind of around. And if you just slide down just a couple of steps down that way, just a couple. Yeah, but stay in order, okay? All right, so I'm gonna read this. To you all, there are many factors other than the GPA, of course, that go into college admissions, right? So during this game, what I would like for you to do is to notice how some students will move closer to college admissions and others will move further back, okay? All right, now to the students, close attention, all right? As I read each statement, look at your card and see if that particular statement pertains to you. If it does, and I tell you to move up, you will move to your left. You'll move towards me if it's up. If read the statement and I tell you to move down, you'll move to your right. You'll move further away from admissions, okay? So I am your admissions director, okay? And deciding on who will be admitted, all right? You ready? Everyone's ready? All right. Now, parents, what I'd like you all to do is to listen to the statements that I read, and I'll ask questions after. So just keep in mind, as you listen to what you hear in terms of how students move, okay? So right now, you know there's 4.1 at the top here, all right? All right, so here we go. If you have taken an exceptionally strong academic program, move up 2 spaces. So move up, so 3.7 should move towards 4.1. Move in front of 4.1, 2 spaces, okay. There you go, yes, all right. If you clearly stated that this college is your first choice by making an early decision application and commitment, move up 2 spaces. If you chose psychology as your intended major, move down 1 space. If you chose Greek as your intended major, move up 1 space. If you do not know your teachers well enough to feel comfortable asking for a recommendation, move down 1 space. If, when you typed your college essay, you forgot to change the name of the college where you were applying, move down 3 spaces. Okay. If you are a legacy at the college, you know what a legacy is. If you're a legacy at the college to which you were applying, move up 2 spaces. If you did not write the optional essay for your college application, move down 1 space. If you chose as the topic of your college essay, sports as a metaphor for life, move down 1 space. If you wrote the college essay of the year, that's the one that everyone passes around the admissions office, move up 2 spaces. College admissions, the college admissions officers really like their essay and passed it around. Okay, all right.
What's the legacy?
Oh, a legacy is your parents attended that school, okay? So some schools give kind of bonus points for that, sometimes. If you plagiarized your college admissions essay and got caught, sit down, you're out of the game. Thank you.
So sad.
I said if you plagiarized a college essay and got caught, you're out of the game. You copied. Sorry about that. If you will be the first in your family to attend college, move up 2 spaces. Okay. If you attended an enriching summer program between your junior and senior college, move up 2 spaces. That's you, so you're already up. Okay, good. If you participated in no school-related activities, move down 2 spaces. If you participated in a significant college service project, move up 1 space. If you are an Eagle Scout, move up 2 spaces. If you are a varsity athlete and an all-region in your sport, move up 1 space. If you got a D in an academic course at the end of your junior year, move down 3 spaces. If you wrote a letter to the college admissions officer and explained the extenuating circumstances surrounding the D, move up 1 space. All right, very good. If you decided to protect your GPA by not taking AP courses offered at your school, move down 2 spaces. All right. And here's the last one, okay, and we'll wrap up and I'll ask you some questions. If your last name is Newman and the name on the college library is Newman and it's not a coincidence, move all the way to the front of the line and stay there. Next, all right. I said if your last name is Newman and the name on the college library is Newman and there's not a coincidence, move all the way to the front of the line and stay there. All right.
Oh, if it's not a.
Yeah, you're fine. You're where you're supposed to be. You're good. All right. So what did you hear? What is it that you? So what were the factors considered during the game? Yes?
Money was the first one.
Money was a factor. Money was a factor there. Anything else? Yeah. Perseverance. That's a good answer. Why do you say perseverance? Yeah, that's a really good response. I think that's one of the best responses I've heard that I've had. So I'm going to give you a T-shirt for that because that's really good. That was really good. Thank you. Let me go get my T-shirt afterwards. Okay, you're going to get a T-shirt because that was. You're the first person to nail it on right here. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Your last name is Sean. Unfortunately, that happens. Yes, she said other activities do matter, not just the GPA alone. Yes, absolutely. Sorry? Yes? And taking great care when you fill out your application forms? Yes. And no shortcuts. No shortcuts. You got to do the work and do it well. Yes. Yes. The essays are very important.
AP courses and maintaining
Yes, AP courses. So how having a rigorous curriculum comes into play here. Absolutely. That's a good one. And yes. Early decision. Yes, making that decision. Yes. So the question is, I didn't really go into SAT and ACT, okay? So test scores do make a difference, okay? Well, let's put it this way. From a highly selective school perspective, they do make a difference. You know, it's important, you know, test scores. So taking the SAT or the ACT and doing as well as you can, because you want to have something that differentiates you, okay? So yes, you want to have that balance. And you're right, I didn't talk about that at all. Maybe I'll add that next time. It's a good point. Yes?
I noticed that I had to move down one space for choosing sports as a metaphor for life.
Yeah, because you know, the whole idea of an essay is you have to do something that's very personal. And my example is that so many students do it, that college admissions officers.
So even if sports is something really personal to your
Yeah,
life.
it's, you know, it's kind of cliche.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, it's cliche. Yeah.
So it's just common. It's just it's not like taken as an actual.
Yeah, it's kind of common, so that's why. Yes.
So if you want to go to a college that your parents and your grandparents already went to, so technically you don't have to try at all.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I wouldn't put it. The question was if you're a legacy and you wanted to go to a college that your grandparents and parents, that you didn't have to try it all. I wouldn't quite put it like that. I think that you know, you always want to give it your best effort, even if you are applying to a school. It's not a shoe. It's not a shoe-in. It's not. It's not sure that, you know. But you always want to. You also always want to persevere and give it your best effort. All right. Yes. psychology was just an example that so many students who don't really know what they want to major in, they choose psychology. A lot of students do. Majors do matter. It will depend on the students, depend on the school, but majors can be a factor in determining who comes in and who does not. So the question is, when we started, oh yes.
So now students go to different kind of schools.
Yes.
How is it really going to go?
So
there are tough schools, there are easy schools. A student may have 4.5 GPA in a remote school somewhere. Some schools may have very tough to get in even GPA of 3.5. Doesn't matter what is the difference.
Do colleges consider how tough the curriculum is and where they come from? The colleges do consider where they come from and how tough the curriculum is. Okay, that is a consideration.
So how do they measure that?
It will depend on what the college needs at that time. Okay, so the college will take into consideration, and they'll try to balance all other factors and aspects and look at it from that perspective. Okay, that's what they do. All right. So when we started this, no, it's more so because so many students. And this particular school here just didn't need any more psychology majors. Okay? It was just an example of this particular school may have needed someone who I was the admissions officer. And it could be that, hey, we need some more people. It's a little different. Okay. Yeah. So that's a part of your research is figuring it out and that kind of thing. So I'm taking one more question, and then I'm going to ask you all another question. Okay. Yes, it is very important, and I was going to go into that. Okay, the admissions criteria here does not take into consideration the financial status of the family. I didn't add that in there at all. Okay, but it is very important. It's more important from your perspective, of course, understanding the cost of attendance and how you will weigh that. Okay, but I did not add that in because I try to keep the admissions portion kind of separate from the financial aid portion.
So they do consider a select itself among the applicants. They select students from underrepresented background as well as the financial status.
So financial status can come into play. It depends on the school once again. Okay, so it's going to really come into play when you look into the school itself. It will depend on the school itself.
Most schools are required to be financial side of the underrepresented students.
Some are, some schools are, but it's really going to depend on each school. Okay. When we started this, you looked at, didn't you have some certain assumptions about the grade point averages where you pretty much, hey, the 4.1 is going to be in, right? Everyone had that as sort of that assumption. So does having a mediocre high school GPA mean you're out of the game? No, it didn't. And I think the point of perseverance, I'm going to use that from now on, really shows that, except for the name of the building, okay? But the perseverance really shows that even if, okay, well, for example, this. What happened to the student who received a D in that course? I'm sorry? Yes, he wrote a letter and fixed it, right? So what was the letter about, right? His circumstances, his life circumstances. So those kind of factors are taken into consideration as well, one's life circumstances as well. So that was good that you remembered that. So any other factors that weren't covered in the game? We talked about money. Okay, we talked about money. Money was not covered in the game. Any other factors that you can think of? Because I can give you some more factors that might be a consideration when you're looking at colleges as well. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, say that again? It's good. Once again, it's gonna, what type of specific courses will be useful for the students? Oh, yes, yes. So I did mention the whole concept of enrichment, right? That, once again, will depend on the student and the student's interest, right? But the whole idea is it's not just looking at it from the GPA and the test score. That take into consideration how important it is to have those extracurricular activities. That's very, very important when it comes to admissions. And I think the game kind of shows that as well. Okay, a couple more factors and then we'll move on. Internships, you wanted to know about internships? It's one of those extracurricular activities that some schools will take into consideration, okay? And I know it's a big question about how to obtain internships and those kind of things, right? It's a big question about how to do that, how to go about doing that. Right? And I'll take one more question and then.
Does the in-state, out-of-state matter for admissions?
That's a good question. Some schools it does, okay? Some schools, like University of Maryland, System of Maryland has a cap on the proportion of out-of-state students that a school can take, okay? And you probably have heard some other school systems, like I know in California, they have made that decision to put a cap on it, okay? So in some instances, that may be something that comes in consideration. But you as a parent, you probably wouldn't know that. You know, that's something the school will use to manage their enrollment. All right?
How about immigration status?
The, pardon?
Immigration status?
Is that taken into consideration? You know, I would have to get back to you on that. I know from the schools that I worked in, we didn't look at that. We looked at academics. Okay. Well, thank you all for participating, and I'm sorry for the one who had to sit down for the. I'm really sorry about that. And actually, I'm going to give you a T-shirt because you were good about that. Okay, because I'm really sorry that you chose the one where you had to sit out. Okay. Okay. All right, so thank you for participating. You guys did great. I hope you learned something.
Yeah, definitely.
Like not MIT.
All right.
All right. Okay. So that was to show you some of the reality of college admissions. Just a little example of a school and some of the factors that they would consider. It's really school dependent. And there's some factors, of course, that you all can control, you know, things that you can control. I think in addition to perseverance, you kind of learn there's some things that you can control and there are other things that you may not be able to really control. So if we go into the next slide, please. So basing the evaluation on academics, I mean, we talked about that, you know, having a GPA, it's a decent GPA, grades are important, even though some grades, you know, we have the extenuating circumstances as an example. Test scores are very important, SAT, ACT, test scores, taking subject tests if needed by the school, as well as AP tests, and doing a decent job on those test scores. And then the type of curriculum, we saw that. Protecting your GPA was an example of someone who tried to protect his 4.0 and he ended up being kind of like down the line. So taking as rigorous a curriculum as you possibly can. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, the first set, I like to think of it more as a subjective set of factors. These are more objective factors. Extracurricular activities is really heavy in here. It's really important to show and to be involved in any way.
in activities, and involvement in summer enrichment programs. You saw that as an example, right? How that's really important and becoming involved in those kind of activities. Essays. Was anyone surprised at the importance of essays at all, or yes, no? Yes, essays are really important, not only from admissions, but also from if you're going after scholarships as well, and writing them in a manner that will get you noticed as well. It will depend. Essays range in length from small, like 350 words, all the way up to 600, 650 words, okay? Right, so they range in length, okay? So I'll take one more question, and then I'm gonna hold other questions for let's hold the questions for the rest of Q&A, okay? Okay, it's great that you all have a lot of questions, it's really great. All right, next slide, please. So personal qualities, I think the good example of, those kind of personal qualities that stood out are very important. Recommendation letters, what did you learn from the admissions simulation about recommendation letters? You should know your teachers to kind of ask them for the proper recommendation letters. So having good recommendation letters. And demonstrating interest, showing that you are interested in that school is really one of those factors that come into play. And it may be different than say, you may be used to, but showing that you are interested in that school is really important as well. Next slide, please. All right, so just going back, just as a recap, grades and academic courses, the courses that you take in high school are important. Exam requirements and understanding what those exam requirements are, SAT and ACT requirements. And all the secondary things taken into consideration is extracurricular activities, summer enrichment programs, leadership and awards, essays, and demonstrating interests. And of course, having those recommendation letters as well. Okay, all the things that are really important to take into consideration. All right? Okay. One of the factors that I didn't talk about in the admission simulation, which I think is a really important factor as well, to take into consideration are the financial aspects, okay? Knowing the cost of attendance and how to kind of balance that out is really important. And not so much from the school's perspective, but more from the family's perspective and being able to balance out from the financial aspect as well. All right, so the whole idea is to think, not only think differently, but to kind of think holistically about the entire process. And that's what the simulation game was designed for. It was designed to get you to think from a holistic standpoint and not just, and I don't mean it to minimize it, but not just the grades and test scores and that kind of thing. Look at it from a broad perspective and think about it from a different angle than you might have before. All right. So now, if there are any other questions, I'm trying to make sure I remember who we get t-shirts for. Yes. How many, pardon? How many essays? The question is how many essays? That's going to depend on the schools that you apply to. Okay, it depends on the schools that you apply to. Sorry, I don't have a definitive answer. Yes.
So I've noticed a lot, like in social media, and like some kids, like even like they need something that's extremely unique about them to go to Ivy Leagues. Like I read about like one kid who had like so many credits that like it was like double the required amount, and then like a kid who had like a lot of service hours. So like, how unique do you have to be to get into these Ivy League colleges?
How unique you have to be to get into these Ivy League colleges? Pretty unique. That's one of the hardest questions because it's so dependent on you as a student, and it's kind of like two things, right? It's kind of like what you bring to the school, and then it's going to be what the school needs. Okay, so the schools, especially Ivy League schools, they build a class. Okay, so they're going to build a class of people. So if they need that oboe player, and you happen to play oboe, you're golden, right? But if they don't need the oboe player and you play oboe, it's not a reflection of you, it's just that that's not necessarily what the school needed. So it's really gonna depend on what the school's needs, et cetera, are. You know, you just are gonna have to think about how you will fit into that school and whether or not it's a good fit for you, okay? So yeah, it's gonna depend. I love the fact that students are asking questions, that's really good. Yes? College enrichment program? Okay, so a college enrichment program, that's a really good question. College enrichment programs, schools have them to either kind of help the students either transition to college, or they might have them to sort of give you a feel for what it's like to be on a campus. Okay? So that's a summer enrichment kind of activity or program. So they could be academic focused, or they could be, any type of interest that you have. But it's just a good way for families to, or students kind of use it as a way to kind of figure out what they're interested in the school and give you a taste of college. Okay? Yes. So the question is, where do you draw the line between your interests and what the college wants in a student? Wow, that's a really good question. How do you even answer that? Because, I just think you have to find what fits you. I always talk about fit, and it's finding out where you will fit into the school. And if you're going to be comfortable going there, if it's the kind of school that you want to go to, because you are the consumer of that product, the education. I mean, I don't like to put education in that perspective, but you really are the consumer. So being able to balance what your needs are and go from there, okay?
Monica?
Yes.
So if I can just quickly add to that one, so the question that I've heard is that how do you balance your personal interest with what the college is looking for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so like you said, it's a difficult answer. My personal experience is that since our conversation today is specific to top ranked colleges, the top 10 or 20 colleges in the country, I really do think that unless the child is passionate about whatever they do, there is no way to bring out the best in you to compete against other kids that are as strong as you are. So I think that it's already competitive. So if you take the passion out of it, it will be very difficult to compete. So I would say that that you need to figure out, you need to do things that are important for college, but intersect those, match those with your passion. I think it's very, very important to understand that you are competing against other kids that are also strong. So without passion, it will be very hard to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, and that's a good point about the whole concept of passion and competing against other kids that are equally as strong. Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
So, this is for parents also. Why it is so important to do an academic program in an Ivy League college?
Why is it important to do a?
Many students with just an academic degree, they are not going to be successful wherever they apply. Why it is so important to get in an academic program, like Harvard or maybe any of those Ivy League places?
Why is it? The question, Benny, is why is it important to get into an Ivy League school? Undergraduate program.
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes.
So I think to the gentleman who asked that question, I think it's a two-part answer. The first, I think, is a matter of personal choice. I don't think that either that UC Easing Dr. Randall or Vaitish or I don't think that we're going to say to anyone that Ivy League is the only way to get undergrad education. I think it's there is a perfect fit college for every child. It could be an Ivy League, it could be a community college. Child is very different. And we can talk more in detail about that. I think the second one though, if I provide the perspective for why Ivy Leagues, and again, to the gentleman who asked that question, you need to make your own call with respect to your specific child, because as a parent, nobody knows your child better. So, but just the perspective on Ivy Leagues is several-fold, the positives for them. The first is that the brand of an Ivy League attracts better quality faculty. It's almost like saying that the corporate brand names that people want to work, those keep changing. Like for example, in Silicon Valley right now, the Google, for example, or Facebook, these are the big brand names, but they keep changing. So just like the people that work in the corporate world, we are attracted to brand names, the same way faculty are attracted to brand names. So whether it's fair or not, Ivy League colleges attract better faculty. The second is Ivy Leagues attract more stronger students for the same reason. And I personally think there is value. College education is not just what you study in the classroom with the professors. It's also what you learn from your peers. And if the quality of your peers is better, there is that learning through induction, all of that social element in dorms, in the central park, etc. If the quality of the other kids around is different, I think it makes a difference. The third piece here is the quality of your alumni network. And I think it's hugely important, especially if you look at it from a first generation immigrant perspective. I don't know how many of you agree with what I'm going to say. See, when we left India, we left one of our biggest resources, which is our network, through the college especially. So the colleges that I went to, the people that went with me to college, these people are senior IAS officials, they're CEOs of companies. If I were in India and I needed something, in most cases I make a phone call, right? Not here, we lost all that network. So the Ivy Leagues, the networks are very strong and they last a lifetime. And they will help you in a job search. You're doing a business, you need contacts, it helps you with that. You want to get into politics, which I hope some of our kids do. So the network is really important. So I would say, long answer, sir, to your short question. Number one, personal choice, we just don't believe that if you don't go to Ivy League, you're a loser. I think that's a false proposition. The second is that Ivy Leagues do have positives in the three areas that I talked about.
Is that good? He gave you a thumbs up. Yes.
You did mention that they'll consider extracurricular activities. What age do they really have to
Start?
Yeah.
So the question was, what age should you start taking into consideration extracurricular activities? I really think in the 9th grade is when you start, okay? Definitely by the time you're 10th grade, you should have some idea, okay? The rubber hits the road. I mean, 9th grade is, one of those transition years for students, but definitely it's not too early to start in the 9th grade for extracurricular activities. So the question is, how important is it to align it with your major?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the whole point that Vinny made, because I'm a firm believer of this, that it should be based on the passion of the individual. Okay? It may, in fact, be, for that particular student, good to align it because that student is passionate about it. Or it may just be that, the student has a different passion and they should go after it from that perspective.
So Monica, can I add there? Or I can't hear everything in the room, so I don't know whether I interrupted somebody.
No, go ahead. We're just talking about extracurriculars and aligning with the major.
So what the question was about something about majors, right? And
Yes.
What I heard is that how important, so can you repeat that question, please? Because for the audience in the room that Vaitish and I relate so well with, I wanted to provide a perspective, but I wanted to make sure I heard the question correctly.
Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I said this correctly. So the question was, how important is it to align the extracurricular activities with like a potential major, correct? Is that it? Yes, that was the question.
Oh, I see. No, Monica, I don't have any additional perspective on that in addition to what you said. Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
But Vinny, you might want to touch on
Okay.
people, they just think to this major thing and what happens in the reality, right?
Okay.
That's
So,
point for parents.
So Monica, if I can just add
Please.
on the topic of major.
Yes.
I think it's really important. This has nothing to do with the gentleman's question about extracurriculars mapping or how they match to the target major. This is completely different. So if I can jump in here. So one of the things for the audience that we really want to share with you all in the room is, remember the topic for today is the need to think differently. So in that light, I want to share something which may come across as a little different to a lot of people in the audience, and you may question me, and that's fine, because our goal is to challenge you into a new way of thinking. So when we came from India, we came from an economy where our college education was the road to employment. Our college education wasn't just about learning or opening our mind to critical thinking. It was about increasing or maximizing its chances for employment. It's a very different mindset because we were in India a developing economy with a very, very high unemployment rate. So I'm not judging where we came from. It was just our reality. So the society said to us that either you become an engineer or you become a doctor, couple other things, or otherwise the society judged you very harshly because you did not go through college to get a monetizable major, meaning that's something that you can get employment of. Now when we came to this country, including me, including Vaitish, when we came into this country, we bring that mindset. So when we think of college, we think of all of these majors. Computer science. Why? Huge demand in Silicon Valley and Northern Virginia and other high-tech hubs, right? Austin. Engineering, same ways. We still think of medicine as a high employment major. So there are a couple of things, there are a couple of data points I want to share with you, which hopefully will give you a different way of thinking. The first is, especially when you look at large public colleges that Monica talked about, like University of Maryland system or University of California, where my daughter went. University of California, 85% of students change majors at least once in 4 years. So I don't know whether you heard that number since I'm remote to you. 85% of students change majors at least once in 4 years. The story is not done. 50%, 50 of students at UCLA, one of the largest and most reputed universities in the country, 50% change majors twice in 4 years. Number 3, most other than, say, hiring in specialized fields like Google or Facebook, hiring for specific technical skills, majority of hiring of college graduates does not consider what majors they study. So, University of California, the top of the public IBs, like Monica said, UC Berkeley is the top of that list, right? University of Virginia is number 2. So, just to give an example, top ranked universities like this are slowly encouraging applicants to apply without a major. What they're saying is, the goal of college is to teach you what to study. How do you expect a 17-year-old to know what they want to study? So, you may or may not agree with what I'm saying, but I'm just sharing you hard data of what is going out there. My suggestion to you would be that let the child think of majors in an open manner. Think of something called undeclared major wherever it's an option. Undeclared meaning you just want to go to that college, that university, or to the college within that university, and you will decide then what you want to study. Keep that as an option. All right. Now, having said that, the last point I want to make is, and here is where parenting comes in. I do believe, and there is data around this, that about 15% of kids, 1/5, are very clear what they want to study. Perhaps very early on, some would say, I want to be a filmmaker. Like today morning, I talked to an incoming 9th grader. He wants to start a company building computers. So what I'm trying to say is that some kids fall outside this 85%, and your job as a parent is to identify that early and support that child in their early choice of a major. Now, is that, you see, no, nobody said parenting is easy, right? So you need to make that call. So with that, I'm going to give it back to Monica to see whether she wants to add any expert comments to what I said.
No, I don't. I think if you really solidified that point, it's really important, especially the 85%. I think most people don't realize that change that occurs, that most students change their majors. All right.
And Monica, so my own personal story with my daughter who graduated from UCLA 4 years back, she changed majors twice. So she's outside that norm, 50%.
So how are we doing for time before I
just ask, I do want to spend about 5-7 minutes on how to get help from UC-ACDC. Should we jump into that? Unless there are...
Yeah, we just had a few more questions.
Could
we, I have one student who's been raising his hand, like he's had it up for a long time. So, and I always give deference to students. So, yes.
Alright, so I would like to follow up on just a question about extracurricular activities. So is it true that colleges, like instead, would they like a student, like, so for example, what if one student like just participated in a bunch of clubs, whereas one student like held a strong position like a president of multiple clubs? So they would definitely choose like a president of like 2 clubs over someone who participated just like in a lot of clubs, right?
So yes, so the question was in terms of extracurricular activities, the whole idea of having leadership position versus just being in a bunch of clubs to fill up your resume, so to speak, okay? Leadership is the focus and is something that schools do take into consideration, okay? And it all goes back to showing that leadership, you're showing your passion. So showing a passion for being a leader in that organization, all right? Okay. So now should we move to you?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah. And then we're gonna have another question and answer after that. Okay.
I'm sorry, Monica, were you saying something?
No, I'm just telling them we'll have another Q&A after, right?
Okay, cool. So before I get started, so what I'm going to talk about now is, excuse me, for those of you who are interested in getting help or guidance from someone like Dr. Monica Randall, I'm going to talk about, but before I do that, Monica Randall would be distributing the feedback forms shortly. One per family, you don't have to do for everyone in the family. Please do fill that because it will help us improve for future. And like Monica said, she'll take more questions depending upon the time we have. So Rajaramji and Vijayanji can guide Monica on that. And then once the event is over, Monica will be around for a few more minutes for those of you who just want to talk to her one-on-one. So let's talk about how UC-EZ can help. So what we learned today is that admissions to top-tier colleges is a lot more than GPA, test scores like SAT or ACT, and choice of majors. There are so many other factors that go into it, several of them non-quantifiable. Vaitish, when he talked early, he talked about how we as first-generation immigrants, parents, even though we are really smart people, and I believe that, since we are not familiar with the college admission system in this country, it's very hard for most of us to help our children. And Dr. Randall talked about the state of affairs in our public high schools where there are few, if any, college admissions help available to our children. So where do our children go? That's where we can help. So what we can do is that we have a team of college admission experts, also called counselors. Dr. Monica Randall would be an example of them, an excellent example of those. So what you can do is that you can talk to us after this meeting today. At some other time in future, you can contact us and I'll share that information. That information is also on the flyers sitting on the flyer desk. So you can call us or email us and we can help you connect with one of our counselors for personalized one-on-one guidance or coaching. So someone like Monica would actually sit down with your child and help them through the entire process, starting, if possible, starting all the way from 8th grade. Now, does that mean that 10th grade is too late? No, it's not. It's better late than never, but earlier is better. And we can even help you if the child is in a community college looking for a transfer to a 4-year college. Or if you have a relative in India looking to come to US for 4-year college, we can help with all of those. So we have curriculum, specific agenda designed for each grade in what we cover. And when you work with us, someone like Monica will essentially hold your finger, hold the child's finger and literally guide you through the process in terms of making the right decisions, which are very important for 8th and 9th and 10th grade. So you lay the right foundation so that you become the most competitive when you apply in 12th grade. So we help with that. We help you stay on track for what to do when. And above all, we take away the stress from that process. So which in turn, you would realize that it actually helps the relationship within the family. Otherwise, it's amazing and very sad to see that this college admissions pressure, it creates so much of stress within a family in an otherwise beautiful family. Many different areas, you can go to this link here, or just go to our site, uceasy.com. The section is called Union to learn more. And the way we work is that to keep it simple for you, that you can start with 1-hour consultation with one of our counselors. You don't have to commit to a long-term plan or to big money and all that. See whether you like counseling, see whether you see value. More importantly is to see whether you like the counselor. And then after that, you can upgrade to the next level. And in terms of contacting us, you can email us here or you can call this number. The one thing I wanted to share with you, and I wanted to thank your management team for the Tamil Sangam, that they talked to us and they negotiated a 5% discount for any members of the Tamil Sangam community. So thank you, Rajaramji, for that. So I talked about the curriculum in terms of what we cover. This is also available on our website completely for free. So even if you don't engage with us, this could be a roadmap for you to guide your child. So you can go to our site or you can email us and we will send you a nice graphic that you can even print and put on your refrigerator in terms of the different things that need to be done for every grade. And if you work with us, our counselor, our expert would cover every one of these. You don't have to worry. This is the last slide I wanted to talk about, that in terms of working with UC Easy. Vaitish already talked about this. We have a maniacal, obsessive focus on quality of our counselors. Because we believe that if you're trusting your child to us, we owe it to you to deliver the best possible quality. And that's quality we stand behind. You start working with us. If you don't like the counselor, you change the counselor. So that's how serious we are about this. And you have, when you want to work with us, we will work with you to select the counselor from our team of 25. We don't just randomly assign somebody. We will work with you to learn about your child's personality, and on basis of that, match the right counselor to your child so that the chances of success are maximized. The third point here is flexible engagement model. You can either sign up for packages, or in some cases you might say, you know what, I cannot afford packages. Not everybody is affluent. Can I just get 5 hours or 2 hours with Dr. Monica Randall, I cannot afford a longer-term commitment. Or in some cases, you might say, I have an older child in college. I already know some of this. I don't need help with everything. So can I just get help in a small thing? So there are all of this flexibility that we offer for you. There are some other free resources available to you. On our website, in the events section, you can learn about free webinars. For example, we have a webinar, an internet seminar, just like you're talking to me. On next Sunday, we talk about college essays. So very important for 11th graders and any 12th graders, or 12th, if that will get into 12th grade in August. Very good resource. Recordings of past webinars are available to you for free on different topics. A lot of the questions that were asked today, they're actually covered in these webinars. And then if you go to our Facebook page, every Friday, we answer, one of the counselors like Monica would answer a question like, how important are essays or majors or whatever it is. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Monica for additional questions, and Vijayan and Rajaram can guide her. How much time do we have left? Please do fill out the feedback forms, and from both me and Vaitish, we would like to say big thank you to your management group and to the listeners for giving us an opportunity to be with you today, and please accept our very best wishes. Monica?
Great, thank you. I just would like the opportunity to thank you all for inviting me here. It's very good, very nice, and thanks. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Monica. It was a very interesting presentation, and I hope you all enjoyed this information and very helpful for your kids. And we continue to provide such more detailed seminars for the youth. So at this time, and thanks to Vinny and Vaiti for your support, and you guys did a fantastic job here, and I can see everyone here appreciate your presentation. At this time, I would like to invite Hema to announce the next event.
Thank you, Dr. Monica. We would like to honor you if you come on the stage, please.
Thank you.
We would like to invite one of our sponsors, Samatva Wealth Management.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity. I know maybe because of this lack of time, I know they didn't cover the finance aspect of it. Since I'm an independent financial advisor, I just want to quickly run through the numbers, how much it costs. I think it definitely will be helpful for your planning, financial planning for your kids. Okay, as of now, for 4-year degree, okay, for in-state, for public colleges, the expenses are like I said, don't take it as a exact number, but just for the planning purpose, definitely you can consider it's around like $21,000. Okay. For example, let's say if you want to go to like University of Maryland, for Maryland State will be an in-state. So the cost right now, as of this year, it's at $21,000 per year. So if you calculate for 4 years, it could be easily $100,000. Then if you want to, let's say, go for public 4-year out of state, then right now the range is like $36,000 to $40,000 per year. So that can go probably like $200,000 easily. Then if you want to go for the one like Ivy or expensive colleges, that's right now it's looking like a per year. As of now, it's like $60,000. So imagine that 4 times 6, it's easily another $250,000. Okay. So again, this is as of this year. If you go back like year 2010, okay, for the in-state college for public 4 years, it's only like $10,000. So imagine just 6 years, the expense jumped from $10,000 to $20,000. It's doubled in 6 years. So imagine if your kids are in 8th grade or 9th grade, see, we still have another 4 years. And as you know, the college expense are like increasing is exponential. Just go back and check your paycheck, our paycheck. Do you think our pay doubled in last 5 years? No, correct? So imagine the inflation, the college inflation, it's jumping like anything. So please take into consider the college expenses, okay? So for that, I just want to quickly go through some of the tools available. So you can definitely check. So for the state of Maryland, you can definitely go and check. It's Maryland529.com. So basically, it's a 529 college savings plan options. Then for state of Virginia, they have a Virginia529.com. Okay. Both of them, they offer kind of 2 type of plans. One is a prepaid, and another one is like an investment plan. Okay. So for the prepaid, basically you have to pay in advance. So for example, right now for Maryland, they're charging like you have to pay like a 50 grand in advance. I know it's the prepaid. It may not be suitable for everyone because I know as a family we kind of run our paycheck. Paycheck will be very difficult. But if you have an excess savings which you can afford, then definitely I would recommend you can go for that option. It's a prepaid. Because the good thing is, remember, the liability is with them. It's not, because they have to provide the money when your kid is ready to go to college. Whatever the expenses, they cover it. Okay, so that's the advantage for the prepaid. And the good thing is they cover for the in-state. So because it's a state of Maryland, they pretty much 100% cover, irrespective of whatever the jump in the expenses. Then even the out of state, they kind of give you back whatever you paid plus the reasonable amount of refund. So you can use that money for even out of state and other colleges too. Then there is another option is it's not a prepaid, it's kind of a invest options, a college investment. So basically you have to every year you kind of contribute like $4,000 or $9,000, whatever the amount you can contribute, you can just saving every year. The good thing is you get a tax deduction. So for Maryland, actually you can deduct up to $2,500 from your state tax deduction. And for Virginia, actually you can even deduct even $4,000. So the good thing is with these options, the 529, you get a state tax deduction, plus the earnings are completely tax deferred. So when your kid ready to go to college, you can completely withdraw that money, you don't have to pay any taxes because it's different. Because for our 401k and IRA, even though it's a tax deferred, but when we retire, ultimately we have to pay back the taxes. But for these 529, it's a great tool. You can definitely encourage to take an advantage. Okay, then in addition to the 529 thing, there are system called it's a student loan. Actually, myself, I worked on the student loan, the backend system. It's managed by the Department of Education. So I worked for that for almost 10 years. So I know how it works. So primarily as a parents and for the kids, we can apply for direct loans. It's called direct subsidized and direct unsubsidized loan. And you can apply for every year up to $5,000 to $12,000 per year loan. Okay. So this is sometimes, let's say if you don't have money, if you have to go for a loan option, this is run by the Department of Education. This is better than the private run banks. Okay. Their interest rates are right now, it's as of this year, it's around 4%. And for parents, we can also take loans to support our kids. So it's called direct plus loans. You can also, for that, you can kind of fill whatever the gaps. Let's say for this year, you have only $20,000, but it costs $40,000. Then you can apply for this direct plus to fill that gaps. And right now the interest rate is like looking 7%. And you can go to the website, it's fasa.com. Please go and check. You can find about all these information about how to apply for this loan. So basically you have to submit an application, then you can run through that process. Then in addition to the student loans, I will strongly recommend you guys check federal grants, because the government also provides, there are a lot of grants, it's called Pell grants. I know it's based on your income. If you are making tons of money, you may not be eligible, but I'll strongly recommend you can check that. Then there is a FSEOG, that's another supplemental federal loans grant. Yeah, the advantage is between the grants versus the loans. The grants you don't have to pay back. Okay, this is a great thing. So I'll strongly recommend you check that. And plus there are a lot of aids from state government, just like a federal. Please check the state government aids. Then also they talked about a lot of colleges. Then a lot of colleges, they also offer aids, like grants. So once you decide that, okay, this is the college, then I would strongly recommend check with that college and find out whether they provide any grants or any aids. Okay. Then finally, I will also strongly recommend there are a lot of non-profit and foundations. They offer a lot of scholarships and grants, whether it's based on need-based or it's a merit-based, because sometimes our students, your kids may be excellent merit record, so definitely your kids may be eligible for those type of foundation scholarship. Okay, those money you don't have to repay. So that's definitely please take a look at that. So I think I kind of run it through. All I'm saying is when it comes to your finance side, so don't think it's only as a parent we have to pay everything out of your pocket. So try to leverage all these different tools available. Okay, there are a lot of types of tools, and always talk to other people, or you can just email me, or there are always a lot of other tools are available. And I would strongly recommend, even maybe for your current kids, if they're in middle and high school, maybe it's a little bit late, but it's still definitely it's not late. You can always start investing or saving money. And for definitely your kids, your even younger kids that are in elementary school, try to start planning now, because in the finance side, the compounding is a very great tool. Okay, basically start saving a little bit, because the compounding does the wonders. By the time they reach the college, you'll definitely have a reasonable earnings. It'll help your reduce your financial burden. Okay, I think that's all I wanted.
Thank you, Maury. Maury has been one of our sponsors for Tamil Sangam, and he provided a lot of information here. Thank you very much. I know it's very helpful for the students to get prepared for their financial strategy for their college education. So at this time, I just want to briefly talk about the upcoming Tamil Sangam event, which is Muthamil Villa. It's going to happen on July 9th, Sunday, at the same school, Walter Johnson High School, between 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we invited a special guest, the famous movie director, Mr. Miskin, is going to be joining this event, and there are a lot of cultural program and some youth activities, Tamil Pandal, Nearmore, and so many activities are planned for the event. So please enjoy your summer with us on July 9th.